Hi, and welcome to the Financial Advice Corner. Tonight's advice, video games. We've been seeing a steady growth in price, so to counteract this, I suggest everyone to simply pirate.
That Guy Who Games doesn't condone the pirating of digital media. It encourages everybody to actually buy their games. For my lapse in judgment, I will be donating all my money to Nintendo of America. What the fuck? Video games are fun until you realize they cost money. It's okay, I don't need to eat lunch today. Zelda's coming out. It's been an ongoing debate how much a video game should actually cost, and it's a debate that's very much within a gray area. I mean, shit, this debate has been going on since the Super Nintendo days, because if adjusted for inflation, those games would cost, in today's money, $130. But oddly enough, the sacred price of $60 had stayed the standard for the marketer's suggested retail price. Even with everything getting more and more expensive, new video games have kind of uncomfortably stayed at this price point because, well, it's kind of what most people will spend on a new video game anyway. At least that was until recently. With the beautiful introduction of next-generation gaming came the new practice of getting a second mortgage to afford your games. Games outside of special editions have been trying really hard lately to get out of that $60 price range. If you look at new games offered on the PS5, you will most likely be jump scared by the $70 price tag! That's too expensive! How does something like this even come about? Well, we can thank NBA 2K21 for all of this. Are you f***ing kidding me? A yearly installment of a baseball game is the cause of all of this? Actually, it's basketball, that's the sport. This game now goes in the history books of gaming, and you know how that makes me feel? Makes me feel like stubbing my pinky toe. This game was one of the first to do the $70 price tag, and it was because of the sales of this game back in 2020 during a global pandemic that other companies decided to hop on the bandwagon of destroying your wallet. Now, I know that can sound a bit dramatic, but $10 extra can go a long way. When I was a kid, I would be able to buy both used and new games at the same time, keeping it below $120. But now 2 games can cost $140. Oh, it says right here I can make some money by working the corner.
Wieners, get your fresh hot wieners here.
Now, while an average badminton game might not warrant a $10 price increase, there is a lot of reason to increase video game prices right now. Budgets for AAA games have started competing with the likes of blockbuster movies. You're hiring producers, directors, actors, animators, artists, writers, voice actors, but unlike a movie, you also have developers making sure all of this is functional. Most of the time. However, just like with the movies, a huge team of people doesn't necessarily mean that the game will be good, and now this poses an even bigger risk since games are costing more money. But there's also the argument that next-gen gaming is more of a luxury than anything. While you can get a PS5 for a normal price now, the features that it gives you are more luxurious rather than necessary, and a lot of the time, the price will be justified with the previous generation version of that game being less money. There are also claims that you're buying for the processing power, that these consoles are insanely powerful and can burn your home down with how much fucking graphics there are. So why the hell is Zelda $70? They think they're competing. I don't think Tears of the Kingdom can be justified being $70 because Nintendo refuses to admit that the Switch has the same amount of power as a toothpick. Breath of the Wild can't even run at 60 frames. I can understand making the sequel bigger and better, but there were rumors that this game couldn't even fit on the Switch for a while. I don't think it's entirely fair to charge more than the average price when the hardware it's running on is from 2015. Hey, do you want a proper gaming experience for the modern age of gaming? Well, tough shit. Like, what will even make this game worth 7,000 pennies? As much as I'm ready for a new Zelda, a sequel to my favorite Zelda game, and the game that got me back into gaming in the first place, this shit does not look impressive. We've seen all of this before. There is yet to be that trailer that brings me all in, like the one from the live show they did back in whenever the fuck it was. I was ready on that faithful Nintendo Direct day that I would finally get my reasons to want to buy this game, and all I got was a game that looked like DLC, and a $10 price increase. Why? I mean, the only way I might even go out and buy this game anyway is if through some bullshit economical reason the game actually ended up being cheaper than Breath of the Wild from 2017. Holy shit, who could have seen that coming? What the f is the world that we live in? Twitter user DoubleKA showed us that when adjusted for inflation, Tears of the Kingdom is like $3 cheaper than what Breath of the Wild was 5 years ago. That puts a lot into perspective, because if the value of money can change that much in 5 years, how much has it changed since the GameCube dropped? However, while that is one way of thinking about it, there's also the fact that within those 5 years, the world experienced a lot and the cost of living has gone up. So in a technical sense and an economical one, the game being more expensive is warranted since that cost of living can affect development. But it also affects the consumers being able to give that $10 extra for that game. It's a hard line to really cross because no matter what side you're on, there are counterpoints for either sides and reasons to even not be on that side. So what if instead it was a case-by-case basis? Certain games are more expensive than other types of games. In a way, this has already happened with remasters. When a game is remastered, it doesn't hit that $60 price point. It normally hits around $40 to $50. So what if there were brackets for MSRPs that determined based on time, budget, and quality how much these games should cost? Well, for one, I feel like games like Zelda, GTA, and Final Fantasy might get even more expensive, but games like Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, Pikmin 3 Deluxe, and GTA Definitive Edition, just to name a few, will either stay the same or get cheaper. It's not a perfect solution by any means, but I think it's better than a forced price increase that no one really wants. I don't see any of you coming up with ideas, and for all I know, my idea sucks. I mean, I'm not a businessman. I don't even own a briefcase. I think the people who get mad at something like this are the people who rightly don't want to spend more money on something that's kind of stayed the same for years on end. And the people who think prices should increase are the people who are rightfully looking out for developers, making sure they get compensated for the work that they do. And both sides are really hard to deny. There is no clear answer on if games are getting too expensive, because making the game is getting too expensive. And unlike movies, there is a whole scene of gaming where you can get great experiences for cheap, but they are not well-known IPs, and it's no secret that if Zelda sells well, then Nintendo's just gonna join the $70 club. Personally, I can understand the price increase, but it does make me worried if used games will also increase in price because of this. I mean, I've relied on used games ever since I was a child. Great experiences for the fraction of the price, and sure, not all that money will go to the game studios, but it's better than these things ending up in a landfill. I can only hope that if prices do eventually increase more and more, that it doesn't affect that part of gaming, and I don't have to spend half my paycheck on a brand new game. Speaking of which, I booked a double ship so I can pay off that lapse in judgment.
My wiener is so good you can fit it in your mouth hole.